Hi there. Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Wreden. I wrote the Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Man, this guy talks a lot.
You know what's so annoying about men is they talk too much.
It feels like, okay, so we're going into this blind.
Yeah, totally blind.
And you know what it feels like? It feels like an NPR.
It does.
NPR, like,
and now,
we're
going to view this over here. And
like next
about...
on NPR. The Beginner's Guide.
No, they don't call it NPR. They next on National Public Radio. Yeah.
That's what it feels like if NPR made a video game.
We're going to listen to this piece by Tchaikovsky.
What does it mean to be a game designer? And what is a game? Next on National Public Radio.
Warning. Whisper machine active. Shift destruction imminent.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
So he's talking less.
You can click to fire the gun.
Oh. Okay. Controls are not that great. I have to use the mouse to actually, fire.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin ship evacuation.
Okay.
So we can, hold on, go turn around, right behind you. Nope, over to the right. See that door?
Oh! Haha!
Space!
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
And it's like, okay, so I feel like we're playing a game that's a let's play of someone else's games.
Yes.
Where he's like pointing out all the cool stuff, doing all the things. I hope a little bit later he gives us some room for interpretation. You know what I mean?
Do we even need to be here right now?
No, I just want to look and...
No. I meant, like, do we as commentators need to be here right now? Because there's already a commentator.
I know,
That's what I meant.
We're like commenting the comments.
Yeah.
Apparently this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it. Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Yeah, why not?
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Whatever.
Whoa.
Wow, how existential.
We've been ejected into space.
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it, like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind. Yep, in this game you can only walk backwards.
Do you think there really was a Coda? The past was behind her. Do you think there really was a Coda?
Or you mean, did he just, like, create this just for giggles?
Like, did he create Coda to tell this story? Because these do look like games that somebody would just make on Source, and, like, that you would download off Game Jolt, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it also, I mean, I feel like it would be kind of weird to just be like, hey man, I'm going to collect all your stuff and I'm going to make a game about you.
Yeah, I don't know how Coda would feel.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
Why does the future keep changing? Oh.
Alright. Let's, oh, there we go.
Things just open up for us.
When she stops and looks.
Eh.
But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
I hope he eventually lets us, like, actually interpret shit ourselves instead of being like, hey, and this is what it means. And I'm like, maybe you should let Coda speak for himself, dude.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
I do appreciate that.
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
Maybe if we look around, there's more to it.
I don't know.
Maybe if we jump off, it's fine. Nope, doesn't let us.
Do you think these are maybe
I
just
know it's
his
tempting,
games?
but there's actually nothing over here. Sorry.
Oh, I like that he comments on what we're doing.
He's like, hey you, I see you over there. I don't know what you think you're doing, but...
If he says there's nothing over here, that means there's something over here. And this will give us some time to actually think about what we're seeing instead of having him tell us what we should be thinking. That's like, I think, hopefully, you know, the narrative expands a little, but...
Oh. Weird. It's creepy.
Easter egg. See, it's only in that one spot. Watch.
Yeah. What's around the other side?
It stops.
Nothing?
Yeah. I wonder if that's going to be like a side plot. I want to have some room to like think for myself. It's kind of annoying me that he keeps telling us what we should be thinking.
Well, that's how the Stanley Parable was.
Yeah, no, well, the Stanley Parable had a lot more open, in my opinion, but I feel like I want more room to think, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, are we on a reverse escalator?
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press the use key on your gamepad, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
I wonder what happens if I never use the use key.
Whoa. You walk around talking people down from pursuing their hopes and dreams.
Stranger appears. You must address and rally a group of eager press
room that's
reporters.
warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
Sharks are trying to eat you. Simultaneously, you are trying to eat the sharks.
Construct a wall and the wall is
Coda would
destroyed. You
often
are
tell
given
me
a
that
medal.
he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person. but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
A normal game where you have to scream into a mic every 15 seconds to keep playing.
If it ends where he's like, actually, he was me. Aren't you amazed at how amazing I am? And I'm like, alright, I get it.
Yeah.
You're so smart.
This is where we came from.
I know, but
Oh, okay.
I want to... I'm very contrarian with game directions. No, what if I did this instead? Ooh, spooky music.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
How is that a puzzle?
Oh, you'll see.
Oh.
See? There's
Yeah.
the puzzle. Oh.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're going to see it a lot.
Why does he keep telling us, like, everything? It's a little...
Annoying?
weird. Yeah.
It's a little annoying. I'm like, no, I could have figured that out, thanks. But maybe, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try and keep an open mind, because maybe there's more to it.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve the puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again, so that when you press the use key on your gamepad, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Do it.
I just want to take a look around first, because this guy's known for, like, hiding weird shit in stupid places.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is
This
it?
is like a philosophical game, I'm coming to realize. This is less about us doing anything and more about him communicating a message to us.
Aha. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and Puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Maybe as time goes on, he's gonna let us... He's probably trying to set up how we should be thinking and interpreting.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's being really annoying.
Or to just be like, hey, like, remember to think.
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development. To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games, to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
It's about to get weird.
Philosophical again?
Yeah, I want to see if I can do this. Okay. Yeah. Hey, dude. Good job.
We're actually in space!
Let's take a look. This reminds me of Remember Me.
Yeah, where she's like walking around in the...
Same color palette, too.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Oopsie.
Hey, we're alright. So I guess the point he's trying to make about this level is Coda doesn't respect rules, man. He doesn't make boxy corridors with the source engine. He goes beyond that.
Yeah.
Like, I want to give this game a chance for how, like, you know, because the Stanley Parable was really good. So, but I'm having a really hard time because I'm getting a little annoyed about everything being explained to me. Oh. Huh? I can't touch it.
Can't even go near it?
I can't. There's like a barrier.
Weird.
Okay, I see.
Ooh.
No.
A gate opens.
I run up to walls sometimes because sometimes in games, and it just seems like this guy's character to make a wall that is actually not a wall.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
so it just looks like it and you can actually go through it.
Yeah, because usually when he has a leading thing that's like, go over here, you should actually go
Over
like,
there.
over here into a wall. So.
It's like we're a cattle.
Yeah.
This
or,
prison,
I mean, or a
funny
prisoner,
enough,
but...
in Coda's original design, the
Yeah,
doors stayed
we're a
shut
prison.
for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that. This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
Moral of the story is Coda's kind of a dick sometimes.
Yeah, this friendship sounds great. Playable games.
Coda is a passive-aggressive dickhole.
Yeah.
But you know what? He got his point across.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time.
I don't believe you.
We'll see about that, Mr.
You're hiding something in the mist. I know you are.
there's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
I was kind of hoping this game would be more like Her Story, because the trailer looked like Her Story, where it's like you just go into somebody's computer and just start playing games and wondering who this person is and what kind of like life they
are
live.
they happy? Are they sad?
Yeah.
Are they lonely?
But instead it's like, here's the games. This is what you should think. And I'm like, come on, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Or you know what? Maybe he wanted a more specific interpretation. And that's fine too.
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned.
You there?
out of the
Did you come
engine's
from up
chat
above?
capabilities. Use the buttons on your gamepad to respond.
Can you let us play the fucking game?
I know.
God damn it. It's really starting to annoy me.
You there? Did you come from up above? What was up there?
What do you think was the most important part? I think the enormous floating colored blocks
Oh,
was the most notable thing.
I would have said enormous prison.
You want to see that?
Yeah.
Yes, there was an enormous prison I spent hours in.
That's the world above. You've been there. Now this is important. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. That was literally the last thing I did.
That was literally the last thing I did before coming here.
Again, perfect. Now please, tell us how you solved it. Tell us the solution. Tell us how to get to the other side.
Well, B is the most honest, I guess.
Yeah.
Trust me, you don't want to go over there.
Oh no, but I do. We do. We need to get there. Do you understand? It is the most important thing in the world. We have to escape this prison. There must be an ending. I promise you, there's nothing I want more. Well, I'm sorry, but it didn't give me an option to help you.
Bye. Oh, what's this?
Fireplace?
Touch everything, touch everything.
Oh dear.
Oh, now they have their standoffish body positions.
Hello, how did you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through?
Yes. Yes, do you want to know how to solve it?
No. We actually find the black space between the doors to be far more interesting. Have you seen it yet?
Actually, now that you mention it, I remember feeling strange as I passed through it.
Don't think too hard about it. You'll see it again soon. Who's those things? Other lights?
Yeah, they're just light sources.
And
from
so
the
we make
source
one
engine.
last descent down to the final floor of the level. It's
Oh, it looks like a
lamppost.
school.
Looks like
Okay,
a,
I
yeah.
can't tell you quite
This is
why,
the main
but
courtyard
for some
of
reason,
a very-
Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Can you let me figure that out? Because it's really starting to annoy me that you're not, like, giving us any room to...
Well, because it seems like he created this, like, put all these games together to just be like, I feel like sharing my ideas and interpretations about these games. Here, why don't you walk around while I tell you what I think?
It's kind of annoying me. Like, I really want to like this game, and I'm still trying to keep an open mind, but it's really annoying me.
I don't know, this is like the same way that I kind of felt during the Stanley Parable, so I'm not exactly surprised that this kind of is coming up again.
I just wish there was more room. Just more mental room. I thought there
hello! What is it?
maybe he was trying to set up the framework for how we should be interpreting. Like, you know how a teacher will set up a framework? Stacy's looking at me like, I'm going to look at you and then your boob and then
So
at you
first
again.
off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're going to see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually. Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person as filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it, that in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
Okay, every time I try to have a thought, you come in and you're like, this is what you should be thinking. Hello?
I think we go from the other side.
Oh, what side? Oh, okay.
Over there.
I was confused.
No, your first inclination is to go jumping off stuff, but I think we just walk over.
It's really starting to frustrate me.
Yeah.
That, like, I feel maybe it's because I came in with the interpretation that I was supposed to, have individual thoughts, but no. I'm supposed to be thinking what he's thinking.
I also just, I don't really like being told, I don't know.
What to think?
Yeah. Well, what to think, or just hey, this is interesting, and here's why you should be interested. And I'm like, that, it's like...
If he had given us more room to think, I feel like both of us would be a lot more... Invested. But every time we try to go... Every time I think... Oh, okay, and then I try to think about it. He goes, hello, I'm here to tell you what to think. And I'm like, okay, thanks. I don't know. We can just do a quick look of this. This is really annoying me.
Well, I think it's only supposed to be an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, then we can finish it, right?
Yeah. Oh, I like that painting.
Oh, in case you're wondering what Stacy's art style is, it's very much like that.
Yeah, that I actually have paintings very similar to that in my house that I did.
Some of them look like comic books. Or
Mine? Oh, yeah, you're talking about the one that's like Roy Lichtenstein.
I don't know that. And
Roy Lichtenstein was, he did things that looked very much like comic book panels, very like pop, bright colors, like graphic shapes.
Okay, so I saw that and I was like, that's like a comic book. And you're like, well, actually. It's by it's a Roy Lichtenstein inspired painting. It's very deep to me, and I'm like, okay.
No, this is, I mean, I know very little about art, really. The only parts that were like, you know what I mean? How some people know like all about all of the art, and other people it's just really like the things that they found very interesting, and that's it.
I feel like they're both equally valid ways to look at art.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes you play a video game like Her Story where they let you interpret and figure things out on your own, and then other times you play a video game and the guy literally won't let you even think about what's happening.
We're getting a chance to think right now. This is nice.
Yeah, because
we're getting to talk to each other. Aww.
Because every time he's like, there's nothing over there. I'm like, well, I'm going over there, so you shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, not trying to be like mean to the developer, but I'm like, come on, guy.
So I've been playing Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, and I find myself, there's a way that it kind of directs you to go, and every time like it kind of directs me, I'm like, no, fuck you, like I want to go over there because that's where I had decided I wanted to go.
I have a similar thing, but if the guy is like, you know, if the video game is like, go over there, I'm like, well, that means I should go over here because there's probably a secret. And give them to me. Give me your secrets, game.
There's so many.
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle.
You said that if we touch all of them,
nothing will happen.
So obvious.
Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time.
I don't give a shit what you think.
And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter
of
his life
no way.
Before moving on to the next one. In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
How about you, let me listen to the voices for a second, dude? Now I can finally understand why Coda and you were always fighting. God.
Hold on, man. Let me just analyze your art while you're making it. Be like, no, how about you listen to what I... Oh.
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
Oh, is this like a room full of monkeys or something?
Typewriters.
Are you there? Please say something. It can be anything. I just need you to say something. Talk to me. Are you having so much difficulty talking? Speak, 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 speak. Speak, 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 speak.
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Alright. How about you just let me figure this out on my own instead of telling me? It's really bothering me. Is that the point? Is that the secret message where he goes like, that's what it's supposed to be. You feel frustrated by me always talking instead of letting you actually think about the game. And
this is the point of games, is to... Didn't it feel less rewarding when I didn't let you figure anything out on your own? Because that's the point of games, is to interpret them. Now you know the secret of games.
Oh my god, that's probably actually it.
Yeah.